Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 online action. Today we're back in action with the Beastmen. No Cygors on the field this time, as we're facing off against the Skaven, and I'm not a huge fan of Cygors in this specific matchup. Let's go ahead and take a look at the army composition. So the front line, we've got Gorherds with shields, 4 of those mixed in with 2 Best Gorherd, one Best Gorherd just in the center. We've also got 2 Ungor Spearmen Herd, 1 on each flank. 1 Ungor Raider, two Ungor Raiders here in the back. We've got Gorbel, Morghur the Shadow Gave, a Lord Wildcaster. No Cygor summon on him, he's just got Devolve and Viletide, as well as the Jagged Dagger for that Winds of Magic increase. As well as, of course, Bestial Surge. Bestial Surge plus Viletide means that your troops will have vigor for days, and they'll just be able to continuously fight without tiring. Very good stuff. We've also got 2 units of standard Centaurs here. You don't necessarily need the armor-piercing option against the Skaven, so better to bring these guys. They do have a small missile block chance and, good charge bonus. Very good against low armor targets. I've also got a couple Centaurs with throwing axes. These guys are a nice armor-piercing option in case of Doom Wheels. Of course, Centaurs with great weapons also have the armor piercing, but the armor piercing axe is a little bit better, I think, because you then don't have to get into melee with the Doom Wheel. For my opponent's build, I like some things. I'm not a huge fan of others. Let's go ahead and talk through it. He's got some Skaven Slave Spears in the front with Clan Rat Spears with shields. More Skaven Slave Spears, more Clan Rats. 2 units of Skaven Slave Slingers. Looks like 2 Poison Wind Globadiers. 2 Warp Lightning Cannons, he's got Lord Skrolk, an Assassin, 2 units of Rat Ogres, and this Doom Wheel here. So, very interesting stuff. Lots of anti-large, so probably expecting more of a Minotaur build. But definitely lacks infantry killing power. I mean, really the only infantry killing power he has is with these Rat Ogres. Lord Skrolk is carrying the Liber Bubonicus as well as the Rod of Corruption, so he can potentially do a lot of anti-infantry damage in himself if it goes to a fairly long fight. But the Beastmen are one of those factions that you're either going to win or die fast, so I'm not 100% sure that he'll really get the best value out of that. Storm Vermin with Halberds here as well in the back line that I failed to mention earlier. And one thing about my opponent's positioning, with the 2 Warp Lightning Cannons, potentially very strong units here, you can see how their line of sight is obstructed by this hill here, so they're not able to fire in on my main infantry corps as I'm advancing here. So until I get up and crest over this ridge line here, I'm not going to be taking any fire on my main infantry corps here, so we're just getting up and around the back with the standard Centaurs. I don't have too much to fear from Skaven Slave Spears, so I'll be able to outrun if he overchases with the Rat Ogres and just kind of stay out of range until the right moment. Baiting a few shots out with these Centaurs with throwing axes on the far side. Same thing with these guys. Since there's not a whole lot of armor targets for me to shoot at, I can just put them into melee mode and charge them in. They'll do fairly well against things like, Skaven Slave Spears. Now, my opponent's going to do a very good job of focus firing with his Warp Lightning Cannons. He actually knocks Gorbel back over the ridge there. So get back, Gorbel. Go back to your cave. He is going to take quite a bit of damage from that. The Poison Wind Globadiers, so they will do quite a bit of damage, but, it's not going to be the most efficient thing against unarmored infantry. So that's why it's nice to have those guys. Doom Wheel punching straight through those Bestigor Herd and going to be charging into Morghur the Shadow Gave here. We do have a Plague Monk Summon up from Skrolk here in the back line, so they're going to be potentially rear charging some of my infantry here, or getting into my Ungor Raiders as well. You can see Gorbel's just continuously getting knocked down by that Warp Lightning Cannon. Really, really rough stuff. We've also got Clan Rats from the Vermintide, but you can see my opponent's line is crumpling very, very quickly. Skaven Slave Spears and Clan Rats, it just can't stand up to standard Gores here. So we'll take in some of this beautiful cinematic action. I'm just using these Centaurs with throwing axes right now to keep my backline secure. Got a really nice charge onto that unit of Plague Monks. We're also using the armor-piercing axes to try and deal with this Doom Wheel here. I'm trying to path Gorbel onto the Doom Wheel as well, but he keeps getting knocked down by that Warp Lightning Cannon. So rough day for Gorbel. But in the back line here, we've got Centaurs charging in on the Skaven Slave Spears. I'm using the Hounds to just tie up the Storm Vermin in the center. But Skaven Slave Spears don't have charge defense, so they'll take a nasty charge from those Centaurs. Centaurs will pretty much just immediately break them on the charge and then be able to pull straight through. My goal is to just collapse this center pocket so we can get in on this artillery and potentially get Gorbel alive and chasing down this Doom Wheel here. He's at about 30% HP. He's had a pretty bad day so far, but we are going to be able to kind of collapse this pocket here right now. We've got these Gore Herds coming in as well as the Best Gore and the Centaur. The Pestigor and the Centaurs here. Going to be just completely collapsing this pocket here. The Storm Vermin are holding out valiantly. They did chase off those hounds, obviously. And the terror from the Doom Wheel is definitely a menace. Gorbel's a little bit out of position here. Oh man, he just exploded some of those Skaven. But he's going to be able to chop up those Rat Ogres if they try and attack him. But the Storm Vermin are a potential issue. He has got the Poison Globadiers online as well. So one volley from them could probably finish off Gorbel with how low he is at this point. Have managed to get some Chaos Spawn summons up from Morghur. We've got Chaos Spawn beating down on these Plague Monks over on the far side. My opponent doing a very good job summoning them up. But, you know, their low armor is going to take a lot of damage from these Chaos Spawns. So Vile Tide going off on the far side, just doing some nice damage to those low armor targets. Gorbel's really having a rough day. He's just perpetually getting knocked down by the Warp Lightning Cannon and now by the Rat Ogres here. He will be able to stand up, though, and give it back to him in a pretty decent way. Nice devolve there, kind of breaking up the leadership. It actually does rout off those Storm Vermin, so really, really nice devolve from the caster there. At this point, the balance of power is pretty heavily in my favor. It's looking pretty rough for the Skaven at this point. So, Ungor Spearman Herd getting very, very nice kills. 55 kills on a low-tier Spearman is excellent. These guys have just been chopping their way through Skaven slaves. And honestly, with the Primal Fury active, in my opinion, the Ungor Spearman Herd are probably the most cost-effective, cheap spear in the game. I mean, they just, you know, they're immune to psychology. They have that weapon damage, or weapon damage? I believe it was weapon damage. Oh, no, just charge bonus, melee attack. But very good stats for a low-tier Spearman, and they can definitely hold their own against cheaper fodder-tier units. They're great against large units as well, of course, so Hound's getting terrified away. Gorbel's just kind of biding his time here after getting beat up and shot most of the battle. He's not too happy about life, but at this point we're just trying to finish off the hero squad here. We've got Skrolk dueling up against Morghur here, so the battle of the gross nasties. We just need Nurgle now and we'll have the gross nasty set complete, but until then we'll just have to make do with Lord Skrolk and Morghur here. The Centaurs coming in to support Morghur, Gorbel also coming in as well, just trying to finish off this assassin here and Skrolk. Of course, I'm not too worried about Liber Bubonicus on Morghur. I haven't caught if he's casted it on Morghur, but one Liber Bubonicus would pretty much finish off Gorbel right now, which would be probably the best use for it at this point, but things are looking pretty rough. This Doom Wheel's going to try and ramshackle back through here, but it's really not going to be able to get a whole lot of work done at this point. Might get a terror route or, you know, or two on these Hounds or some of these low-tier Spearmen, but my throwing axes are still online here, and we've got them kind of just hanging out on the side here, pitching their throwing axes into the side of the Doom Wheel here, which is still getting some nice attack animations, but it's just not going to be able to hold its leadership together at this point. Just taking that missile fire is too much. So the Beastman Zerg is rolling through the forest now, going to be able to get onto Skrolk and his assassin buddy here and finish things off. So we'll kind of take in the cinematic action. I believe that was a summon there. Yep, so we've got some clan rats being summoned up. They're going to be tying up this unit of Centaurs here, but of course the Centaurs have decent melee stats, so they'll do okay, especially with the clan rats degenerating, as all summoned units do. So Morghur's back in here, smacking around the Skaven leadership with his Bestigor buddies, and yeah, it's gonna be a rough day for the Skaven. And this is one of the tougher matchups for the Skaven, in my opinion. Probably the toughest matchup, just because the Beastmen infantry are all super cost effective, and they're probably due for a nerf in the next patch. But for the time being, definitely want to watch out for the Beastmen, pretty much when you're playing as anyone. But yeah, the Skaven did have a rough time here today. I really like my opponent's build in some respects. We'll go ahead and kind of talk through things in the outro screen here. Very well played to my opponent. Hope you guys enjoyed watching that. Let's take a look at the army breakdown now. So for my units here, 105 kills on an Ungor Spearman herd is just excellent. 146, 81 on these Gore herds, 146 on the Bestigor herd as well. Excellent kills. 118, 124 on the Centaurs. I mean, just absolutely amazing. When you're up against this many unit models, you need them to really pull their weight like that, and they definitely shined in that combat. For my opponent's army, the Skaven Slave Spears, I particularly like. Clan Rat Spears I'm not crazy about. And I don't really like the Warp Lightning Cannon on that map either. I mean, he did get some really nice work done against Gorbel, I guess, with the one. But you could probably cut the other one and potentially bring... I'd probably cut the Storm Vermin as well and just bring some Plague Monks. That way you have something to compete in the infantry line there. Plague Monks will cut up Gore Herd pretty well. They'll struggle mightily against Bestigor Herd, but, you know, up against things like Gore Herd and anything below that, Plague Monks will be just fine. So I definitely like bringing them in this matchup. Skrolk's pretty good. The Plague Furnace can be good as well. Assassin and Skrolk, can help take out Gorbel, although they're not going to be great at taking out Morghur, just because, he has those resistances. So, Liber Bubonicus, and I believe Skrolk actually does magic damage. I guess we can go check that real quick. Let's go ahead and go to the custom battle screen. So yeah, Skaven versus the Beastmen. Let's go ahead and see here. If I bring this double drain build, this is kind of a standardized build that I use in a lot of different situations. It has the Warlock Engineer. He does have the Howling Warp Gale, so we can go ahead and cut that. Now he's bare of spells. All he's got is the Mortis Engine armor, the Warpstone armor here. We've also got a Plague Priest. We can go in here and, Wither's tough. You might want to bring Wither to help deal with Bestigor. Pestilent Breath can be potentially very good in this situation as well, so I'll pick that up. We can go ahead and I'll cut this Warp Lightning Cannon. And, the Poison Wind Globadiers might be useful here, but let's see. Let's go ahead and cut one group of them and grab one more Plague Monk here. Grab another unit of Gutter Runners, just because the Beastmen are good against non-armor piercing missiles. And I'd really like to get some Rat Ogres, so maybe what we do is we cut these Poison Wind Globadiers, get some Rat Ogres. And this one leaves us with a little bit of funds left. I guess we could come in here and get another Skaven Slave Slinger. Again, these guys are pretty decent against low armor targets, so something like this I think would be pretty good against the Beastmen. Skrolk is probably the, a more competitive pick in a lot of matchups, but I don't really like him against the Beastmen all that much, just because he can't really goon Morghur, and he does indeed do magic damage. So if we go over here and look at Morghur himself, Morghur does have innate magic resistance of 25%. He's also got missile resistance of 75%, so, very resistant to those things. He's got regeneration as well. So, he'll definitely get taken down by a Rat Ogre, though. I mean, the Bonebreaker has 460 weapon strength and great combat stats, 70 armor as well, so the Rat Ogre on the Warlord on the Bonebreaker should be able to take down Morghur, I would imagine, in a one-on-one. But just my thoughts here of what I like to take in this build. I will be showing off myself using this build against the Beastmen a little later on, so stay tuned for that. If you guys like this kind of content, like and subscribe. I'm keeping it coming with more Total War Warhammer 2 content, so stay tuned for more, and we'll see you next time.